Hey, listen up. Yeah, we here and we locked in. Let's keep it going all the way to the top 10. We feel the turtle, so it's no other option. Fred and Ryan, just watch them. Let's take it to the max. It's the shell and tell. They come with all the facts. It's the shell and tell. Let's take it to the max. It's the shell and tell. They come with all the facts. It's the shell and tell.
All right, man, let's talk about the Terps Hoop Squad right now sitting at 6-4 after their first big win of the season. Danny Manning's first as a head coach, beating number 20 Florida 70-68. Was it a perfect game? Not by any stretch. But were there areas that they improved on and things that they can build off of? Yes, and again, this is their first out-of-conference ranked win since 2014.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where you're like, see, this proves that.
No, I didn't say that.
I know. I know.
I didn't say that.
But a lot of people are like, this proves that Turg couldn't win the big game. All we had to do is get rid of him and win the big game. But this is truly like a lot of the Turg defenders were like, look at the shooting percentages. And how is Turg affecting this? Like, he might not be recruiting the right shooters, but he's certainly not missing the shots for him.
Right.
And we won this game because two people could not miss.
Yeah, I mean, this team had their best shooting night of the season, 49% from the field, but more importantly, 61.5% from three. When they've been under 30% for the entire year, they had been shooting like 28% from three for the entire year.
Yeah, like last in the nation, like third to last or something crazy.
Do I expect this to continue? No. But do I think that they can improve in this area? Yes. And that's going to work with getting the ball inside and passing it out to the open shooter as these double teams come on. And I think we'll start to see this team develop, especially if we start seeing this two big man that they went to for the first time in this game, where they had Wahab and Julian Reese on the court together. That's where you'll see the double teams down
Take
low,
the pressure off Wahab.
Kick the ball out to the perimeter, get yourself a nice open shot with your feet set, and that's where I think you can see the shooting improve.
Yeah, I just need Wahab to be better at it. We talked this week. I thought as a grad transfer coming in that he would be more of a finished project.
Yeah.
Like him and Reese, when you look at him, like I'm like, oh my God, I love Reese. Then I'm like, I can't stand Wahab, really. I don't know what we're doing with this. But they're really very similar players. I don't think that one's much better than the other. My expectations are what's
Reese
so different.
is more athletic, I think.
But just my expectations were like, okay, this is a freshman. So like when he makes freshman mistakes, I'm like, all right, we can work through that. He'll learn. Yeah. He hasn't seen that look before. With Wahab, I'm like, how? You're an old man. Like you should know how to pass out of a double team. You weren't getting doubled at the lower level. You sure should have been getting doubled at the lower level because you were able to move up.
Right.
So how do you not know how to get the ball and get it to somebody else? Why are you dribbling?
Yeah.
Why are you rebounding balls at your chest and not what? He takes away his size.
Right. I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because one of the things that consistently, whether it's under Turg or Danny Manning in this game, yet again, we continue to see these big men get out-rebounded. They were out-rebounded by 5, which is kind of the average. I don't know that they've out-rebounded any team since the first game.
Yeah, and that wasn't really a game.
Right, exactly. But that's my point. It kind of goes to what you guys are saying. You see this, it's a little bit better because we've seen this gap be 10 plus at times. Yeah. But this time with the two men down there, it gives them there. But there's still some coaching that needs to happen. Like, get your body up there, dude. That was one of the things I'm sitting there going, what the hell are you doing?
He was dropping passes, dropping easy rebounds.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, Florida is a good rebounding team to begin with, and starting center Colin Castleton is a big problem usually down low. I think, yes, I understand your point offensively with Wahab. It was a challenge. I don't think he scored any points in this game, or if he did, he had like 1. He didn't. I'm pretty sure he had 8 rebounds in this game. Julian Reese, I think, only had like
Wahab
5
had 1 point.
Yeah, and Julian Reese only had 5, right? So offensively, they weren't doing a whole lot down low, but what they were doing is they were playing solid defense. They only held Castleton to 9 points in this game. So yes, does he need to improve? To your point, should he be a more finished product? 100%. But there's not another alternative. The alternative isn't somebody else that's on the bench not getting playing time. You got to work with Wahab. You got to continue to get him comfortable in this offense, and you're only going to do that by playing him more.
Yeah, there's definitely some offensive changes happening. It's less of the weave and heave going on. It made appearances because you can't replace every play in your arsenal in a couple weeks.
Right.
But there's definitely, you're seeing The first game, it kind of just looked like a Mark Turgeon team led by Mark Turgeon's best friend.
Right.
And this looked like more of a, we're starting to adapt differently. We're starting to play different things. You saw the most obvious moment was actually with Julian Reese, who was completely lost on a play and being like directed and moved by his point guard and be like, no, you're supposed to be there. And Reese is like, no, I'm supposed to be, and they like yelled at him and he's like, oh, fine, I'll go stand there.
You saw that a couple times this game. There were some issues in communication between Fats and Xavier Green as well, especially late in the game on the inbound pass, the first inbound pass.
Yeah.
So there were some communication issues. But listen, this was probably the best game that Fats Russell and Eric Ayala have played together. I mean, as a backcourt, combined for 38 points on 13 of 24 shooting, 6 of 8 from 3. Fats, who has never shot the ball well from 3 in his career, even at Rhode Island, 3 for 3 in this game. Again, do you expect that every week? No, but it's a good sign to see these guys playing well together.
Yeah, it's absolutely a great sign. It's a great sign to get Eric back at all to what he used to be, get to his old self.
I was going to say, that's one of the questions I did have for you guys with the fact that, he steps up, has a better game in this game. But is it surprising to you guys that a guy like Eric Ayala, a guy like Fats, is it coaching? Is it just a lack of ability to hit the three? Because while they went off as a team in this game, you talk about 6 of 8, but you talk about they shot 61%. I mean, are you depending too much on guys like Dante Scott to pop off the 3 like he has been recently? That's
been the problem. Really, the only consistent shooter from 3 this entire season has been Hakeem Hart. Outside of that, nobody has been consistent behind the arc. And it's what I was saying a couple weeks ago. It's not that they're forcing bad shots. It's not that they're getting bad looks. It's just they're not hitting shots, and they're not a very good shooting team. But the problem was, under Turgeon, they continually took those shots. In this game, they didn't heave a ton of three-point shots, but the shots that they took, they made it a high percentage. That's what I'm saying. That's an improvement. That's something that the team can hang their hat on, and I'm going to look to see if that trend continues moving forward. What needs to get cleaned up is the turnovers, and that was bad in this game. They had 15 turnovers in this game. That's sloppy. That's something that it's been an issue for this team all year. That needs to be controlled, and it starts with your point guard in Fats.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you noticed, because you watch it live.
Yeah.
And I was on night shift, so I slept through it and then went back and watched it. So it was
I relived it for you.
I was able to detail dig a little bit more, not be so stressed out of what's going on. But Fats wasn't your point guard by even a quarter of the way through the second half.
Right. They were doing some rotations.
It was very surprising to me to see the fact that the full court pressure is the reason they made that change. This guy you brought in to be your true point guard wasn't the one that was able to handle the full court pressure. Somehow Dante Scott was bringing it up a lot, which I didn't like because he did it successfully over and over again, but by fundamentals wise, he did it terribly. He was dribbling straight up the sideline every time that he did it, which is just asking for a corner trap as you get through half court. Somehow he was able to just freight train his way through it. It just never became a problem. But then they also brought Eric back there a lot. Really weird that, to me, if you have a full court press, you want that ridiculously short, shifty, fast point guard to run that. And he was not. They took him out of it completely.
Because he's been careless with the basketball. The speed and the athleticism is all great, but if you can't hold on to the basketball, they're going to bring somebody else in there to bring it up.
When you talk about the energy and the fast pace that these guys had, how much do you, I think John just said it in there. He liked how the fan turnout was better in New York compared to the home court, which they did really turn out. You saw the pictures. They were right along the sidelines, packed in there, and they were making a lot of noise. How much does that mean? And I will get into it with Turg in a few minutes, but how much does that mean for this team that it seems like the fans kind of are embracing it, Danny Manning, and embracing this team all of a sudden and coming out and really showing up?
I mean, a lot of the fans got what they wanted, but yeah, I was pretty impressed with the fan turnout in New York at the Barclays in Brooklyn. Again, boisterous. You could hear them throughout the entire game there. And again, they did show their support for Danny Manning and a team that actually came up and played a very good game.
I'm just interested to see whether it continues at all.
I agree.
I think that
interesting to see the difference away on the road in New York versus home.
To me, I think that was a one-off. I think it's a couple things. I think it's fans that live closer to there that are not spoiled, that don't get to see the teams whenever they want, and whenever it's going. And then And then it's also the people that at the beginning of the year thought they were going to be the best team in the nation, bought these tickets, and then on top of the tickets, bought hotel rooms and travel and all this non-refundable stuff.
Yeah.
When you're talking about people that are season ticket holders or buy a game randomly at home, they can just go, I got something better to do. But when you put all that money out up front, you go there.
I 100% agree with you. Goog's got a good point, too. He said it's easy to fill seats when the student section doesn't get seats and not even bother showing up to it. That's something that you've been an advocate for. It's been pissing you off since the start of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you claim 3,000 tickets and 250 you show up.
Right.
I mean, what's going on?
Unless there's a Len Bias free jersey.
Unless they give you a free jersey. Yeah,
exactly.
Congratulations.
But to your point, man, talking about the team, the fans, everybody kind of buying into Danny Manning. I think that became real evident from a team perspective in the post-game celebration. There were videos that the Terps posted of inside the locker room. It wasn't just a happy team. Yeah, you can see it behind us here. It wasn't just a happy team that they won. It was a team happy for their head coach, right? To go through all that he's gone through and have to handle all that he's had to handle with all the, the media and backlash and stuff, because we're going to talk about that too. A lot of coaches out there nationally have been voicing their opinions on the Mark Turgeon situation. Well, Danny Manning's had to take the brunt of that, and he's put up against it. And he comes out there against his first-ranked team and gets a big win.
Well, I think that's one of the things that you like. When I first saw the celebration, I kind of went, act like you've been here before, like in my head. And then I had to go, shit, this is
bigger than that.
Turg is not the coach here. This is Danny Manning. This is his first win, and it comes against a ranked team. So I get it. At first, my initial gut reaction was like, act like you've been there before. But when you kind of put it all together, it's good for them to celebrate, good for them to get this energy going, and hopefully they can carry that momentum too.
It's got to be a little bit of us versus the world. Like the conversation in this locker room, how could you not go to these kids and be like, look, the fans don't mean anything right now. They're all talking heads just because there's so much negativity. You have to keep their heads out of it. Like on a normal year, I hope it's not the team versus the fans. But at this point, that's kind of the only way to coach us, I would think, is like it's us versus them.
Right.
And so show them they're wrong. Show them you were good enough to not do that to your coach.
I want to address Goog's comment. He said ranked team away from home, Scott, and I get that. But here's the only thing I'm going to say. The beginning of the season, you were a ranked team.
Yeah.
Ranks also mean nothing. We've said that before. Ranks mean nothing. You beat a team. If you're talking this is a top 10 ranked team, I may be talking a little bit differently, but 20 to 30 or 20 to 25, it goes in and out every single week.
It was bigger than just a win. It was, again, getting the win for Danny Manning in his first big win against a ranked team. Fats Russell and some of these transfers were my first concern through the whole Turgeon debacle, because these are guys that were sold on a potential and the potential to dive deep into a tournament run. And then your head coach up and skips town, right? So I was worried about where the mentality of some of these transfers would be, especially a guy like Fats Russell, who is supposed to be a big, integral part of this team moving forward. He had an interesting quote that kind of put that at ease after the game. He said, "We had a lot of meetings, heart-to-heart meetings between each other, and told each other we're going to go through this thing, and we're going to stay together, and we're going to fight this out. I felt like today was a step in the right direction, and to me, that shows you that he's got his head on straight, and that the team, not just him, the team is doing it for the right reasons."
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear that quote. It's good. I wasn't as worried as you are with the transfers because they don't have another option. Like, at this point, they have not made it.
They had other options.
They did.
Being sold to them.
Yes, they did, and now they can be disappointed. Tyler Mabry,
that's what I'm saying.
You will. Yeah. But it's not like they can go jump in the portal again because they don't have any more. They haven't.
No, I wasn't worried about a mass exodus. Yeah. I was just worried about the headspace not being right because, again, it's Turgeon selling you on all this stuff. You commit your final year of eligibility or how much ever eligibility you have left to Turgeon and what that image is, and then Turgeon bails on you in 5 games.
But their back's up against the wall. They have to put up or shut up now and show if they want to do this for a living, if they want to play in, these guys aren't either one of them going to the NBA, but if they want to play in Europe, if they want to play in China, there's huge money, a lot of different markets right now for basketball. So they still have to come out and play. And I wouldn't be shocked the way this is going with the transfer market if we end up in a place where you can just enter the transfer portal and play for another team next week, a year or two from now. But so far, we're not doing that.
Right.
But yeah, I'd worry about the whole team in general. We've talked before. Yes, we know there's going to be a mass exit. There always is with the coaching change, unless somehow Danny Manning stays and these guys love him, whatever. But Julian Reese, Hakeem Hart, If you could hold on to that, that would be a hell of a big win for the Terp fans. That I'm sure there's others that would be nice too, but I'm just not expecting much more than 2 players.
Yeah, so I know I kind of hit it on a little bit earlier, man, talking about some big name coaches and big name personalities really on social media kind of coming to Mark Turgeon's defense about the way the fan base treated him, which is ultimately why they say he left. It was because of, the treatment that he got from the fan base, which to me is a little soft in my opinion. But when you look at some of these quotes, you got Dick Vitale, right, who's been around college basketball for longer than I've been alive, right? He said, I've been around the game as a coach and ESPN hoops analyst for over 6 decades, and I can tell you flat out, Mark Turgeon is a very good coach. Mark deserved better treatment from the fan base. Terrapin Hoops, so sad how they responded to him. Gonzaga head coach Mark Few in a press conference. Literally, that fan base just made it so miserable that it wasn't worth it anymore. I'm one of those guys. I don't believe a college team should ever be booed. I'm sorry, not at home. Rob Carlin, who's the former post-game host for the Capitals pregame, so he's been around D.C. and also a Terp alum. I don't think Mark Turgeon quit on his team. Everyone knew it was time. The chorus of coaches blaming fans is ridiculous. He's a grown man in a high-profile job, but he never felt comfortable with this fan base. So that is kind of my feelings on this entire situation. I do think that the fan base running him out of town is way overblown. I don't think ultimately that was the main reason behind him leaving. And if it was, it's a very, very soft move for Turgeon.
So I want to give my take on this just because I don't talk about this stuff a lot. But I think to me, my opinion, the last one, I agree with you. It sums up. And here's the statement. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Yep.
And this is where I respect, to an extent, I'll say to an extent, I respect Mark Turgeon for saying, I can't take the heat, I need to walk away. Okay, fine. But I shouldn't see him at a Georgetown game chirping it up with some of the guys trying to get in there and maybe be a coach somewhere else. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. It's not get out of this kitchen, go to the next kitchen, because no matter where you go,
especially Georgetown.
There's gonna be heat, right? You're talking about going to a team that has regularly been in the hunt in March Madness for the past 10 plus years.
Who?
Georgetown.
Oh no, Georgetown hasn't been relevant in a very long time.
But
years
still,
ago,
my problem with it is it's the DC market.
Yeah.
Like, that's who ate you alive.
It's a very similar fan base.
If you want to change fan bases, go back to Kansas where you came from. That's why we talked about with this coaching search. I want some East Coast person that can handle. We have idiot fans. Don't get me wrong.
Go down with Brian Kelly down south at LSU, dancing up like a fucking fool.
Yeah, where they just care about football. They just let you as long as you win something, it'll be fine. Go down south, sure.
Right.
But you can't be in a team that's ever had any success, especially in the Northeast, and expect to not get angry messages.
Yeah, and what other people are clamoring about on social media is it's very interesting that all of these names and all of these, prominent figures in college basketball, around college basketball, are speaking so vocally about this situation. Some say potentially being paid to do so by maybe Turgeon's agency that runs him to help create a better image for Mark Turgeon as to why he left the program. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but I mean,
James, you look like you want to chime in on this.
If there's smoke, there's fire.
For him to be run out because of the fans, they rotate every 2 to 3 years down there anyways, and you're going to get upset because you're not a good coach. You can recruit, but you can't coach is one thing. And for him to all what you said, I respect Dick Vitale, but if fans have the right to boo if you're doing a shitty job. And
yeah,
I grew up watching ACC basketball before football. That's what was more relevant. And this guy comes in here and doesn't think he's going to, be booed. You got bigger things to worry about. I'm glad he's gone. Hopefully the program does better. They can bring someone in and bring this program where it should be.
All right, sum it up for us, Ryan.
Yeah, I just think that these complaints are all off base. Dickie V, I don't really care what his opinion is. I don't know how he's ever been related to him or been exposed to him enough to matter. I think that the complaints about the college team being booed at home is complete garbage because that's exactly what we didn't do.
Right.
No one blamed the players, even with the terrible shooting percentage. Even with we didn't blame the players. The team wasn't booed. Look at the Mike Gundy quote from back in the day.
Right.
Blame me. I'm a man. I'm 40. That's what you're supposed to do as a coach.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to take the bullets. You're supposed to take the daggers. And Turgeon hadn't even been doing that this year, really. He had been deflecting in the interviews after games. So I just don't get it. I'm on record. It was screwed up to be booing him before Len Bias night, before the game
100%.
ever started.
Yeah,
it was
that's the
screwed up to
line.
be chanting, fire Turge. But to boo Turge afterwards, not a problem. To complain about Turge between games, not a problem. This is why you get paid $5 million. This is why you're the highest paid state employee in the whole state. The whole state. You're the only guy. You're the one. You get more than Loxley evens. Like, you need to do something. You don't get to just, not be looked at. You're going to take daggers. That's your job. You don't get paid to coach games. You get paid for all the other shit. You get paid for the appearances. You get paid for the fact that you can't go to a restaurant without shaking 100 hands. That's why you get paid. You don't get paid to coach games. You want to get paid to coach games, go be a high school coach. Go do that. Go make $6,000, coach your games, and go home.
Yep. Can't say it any better than that. I mean, that's exactly how I feel in the situation as well. But due to time constraints, man, we need to move on. Let's talk a little bit of football now. The football team announced their annual team awards. We're not going to run down the entire list of these because there's just so many awards. There's a lot. But the couple of key ones that I do want to point out.
Special Teams Player of the Year.
No, we're not going with special teams. No award goes to special teams this year.
Special teams if you want a special teams player of the year.
A couple that I do want to point out. The offensive player of the year and the Ray Krause Memorial Award MVP of the year, Talia Tagovailoa. I think a lot of us expected that. I mean, I think the only one that may have challenged him for that, for Offensive Player of the Year, Team MVP, may have been Dante Demas if he'd have stayed on his course and not gotten injury. But Talia showed out, had one of the best years as a quarterback for a Terp in a very, very long time.
Great game, and great year, and I hope to see him back next year to do even more.
He'll be back for sure. The other one I wanted to point out, the Jordan McNair Memorial Award, this went to Chig Okonkwo. Now, the McNair Award is given to the player who reflects the spirit of Jordan by showing great professionalism athletically and academically, dedication to his team, strength in the face of immense adversity, as well as courage and conviction to do the right thing. This obviously...
No-brainer.
A no-brainer, man. Chig Okonkwo is the total package, and good luck to Chig on his adventure going to the NFL.
Now, the first thing we had a good luck for was he's still playing in the bowl game, and thank you, Chig. We need that. Show out in the bowl game, get your stuff itself an invite to the Senior Bowl, go show out there, and let's get you into that, third round-ish NFL thing. Let's do it.
And the other one I did want to highlight here, a guy that we had on our show, and again, you talk about a shoe-in for this award, was the Public Service Award. Went to punter Anthony Pecorella. We've been a big fan of Anthony since day one. We've talked about all the work that he does with mental health and everything. Again, the kid just got a good head on his shoulders, going to do big things in life, and this was a shoe-in for that award.
Yeah, he's going to do huge things. Can't say enough about his personality, about his work ethic, about what he has done for this team, and he deserved better from the rest of the special teams this year.
For sure. If you want to see the laundry list of awards that they gave out, you can follow them on social media at Terps Football. You can look them up on their website. They've got all the awards there. We might go in depth with a few more of these when we go on our next episode of Shell and Tell. We'll just see kind of how that plays out. But
some big news broke. I don't think we talked about that, but some big news broke before the show. And I know you guys are going to get into it on the next episode of Shell and Tell, but give the listeners and viewers a little taste of what you guys are going to be talking about, because it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is exciting stuff. National Signing Day is tomorrow for football, and there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of connections with the Terps to some big name prospects. We did miss out on one that we had hoped for that was in our backyard at St. Francis. He ends up going to South Carolina. But right before the show, we get a big flip, and a flip that has a lot of ties to this upcoming Pinstripe Bowl, as four-star running back Ramon Brown, who was committed originally to Virginia Tech, flips the script. Going to sign with the Terps tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those DMV hits. The top four. When you're talking about local recruiting for College Park, you can't just count Maryland, because College Park's barely in Maryland. It's right outside D.C., you know what I mean? So they're always trying to get these Virginia kids, and it's a big one. I mean, we definitely need a little bit more help at running back. We saw we had McDonald, who was playing great. We think there's going to be good things from Hemby, but You're losing Tayon Fleet Davis, and we saw how deep we needed to get into the running backs this year. We had ended up being really a walk-on was turned into one of our top backs. So it's always good to get them in. Big-time recruit. And he was quickly followed by another recruit that signed, 3-star wide receiver Leon Halton, 6'4", 200 pounds. So, that's the receivers I like.
Right.
We'll have to see how that
Big
goes. Took Carlos Carey 4 years to show out for us, so maybe he'll be a little bit faster than that. But this wide receiver core is going to be scary good if everything sticks as is.
Yeah, if Shalik Knott stays in the fold, which it sounds like he is. He posted some stuff on social media. So
be an awful late flip if he's getting out of here.
Yeah, the way we've seen things, though, man, I'm not counting my blessings until he signs.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you never know. McDonald's bag full of money. Here's the thing, though, man. This is going to be could potentially be a very good recruiting class for Loxley. These are just some of the names that we know about right now. A lot of things can change over the next few hours going into tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned for our next episode of Shell and Tell that we're going to be recording on Thursday, because we're going to dive into all the names that Ahmed's been keeping track of and who signs with us. I'm excited, man. This is always the fun time of year. This is like
tomorrow I'm going to get in trouble at work.
This is like the NFL draft. We always make a big deal of the NFL draft, and we have our special and all that stuff. This is the equivalent of the NFL draft in a college football kind of way. So
I'll be on my phone all day long.
I was going to say that's the difference.
It's every link.
It's all day versus 3 or 4 hours on TV.
It's like 6 a.m. Like some random dudes start signing, and then by like 8, 9 a.m. it's like, oh my god.
Right. One other award or recognition that I did want to put out there before we move on, and I thought this is big because a lot of people don't know his name, but the tight end coach for the Terps, Mike Miller, was named to the American Football Coaches Association's 35 under 35 Coaches Leadership Institute, the school announced. Now, Miller was part of what helped lead Maryland's charge for 4-star Shalik Knott that we just mentioned. He was also elevated to the passing game coordinator heading into third season with the program. He is the one that prepared the tight end room to become the staple in the Terps offense this season, which was a big change from what it had been the past couple of years. Chig and, Corey Dyches.
Now we got Baby Grunt following up behind him.
Both had a big impacts, and he's also a big influence in the pass game outside of just the tight ends. So that's a prestigious list to be on.
Hopefully
so that's a guy you want to
keep. That man.
I was going to say that's a guy you want to keep
with that new title.
Absolutely, that's a guy you want to keep in the fold moving forward for sure.